So this time I'm going to record another session. I'm going to show you how to use the lookup functions. Now, lookup functions are a really handy feature, probably getting up there towards those intermediate skills within spreadsheets. But the way a lookup function is that you have a particular scale that you need to apply. Classic examples. This particular one is looking at, okay, depending on what pay rate you get taxed at different rates, which sounds awfully familiar to all of us getting taxed to the hilt. So the more you make, the more tax you pay. But you could also apply the exact same reasoning and say that if you were awarding grades like pass, credit, distinction, high distinction, for grades based on the score people got, it's the same philosophy, isn't it? You have a scale that you refer to, and then you have to go and look up what value to attribute to that. So I've left this formula in here to show you. Now you can see here, okay, that Tom has made $20,000 in annual wages. So you can see straight away that as soon as you make $10,000 up to $20,000, at $20,000 you need to pay 30% tax. And then at $30,000 you pay 40% tax. So for a person paying $20,000, making $20,000, they should be paying a 30% tax. 30% of 20,000 is just 6,000, isn't it? Now, watch what happens when I change that. If I make that 19,000, what tax rate should it be applied at? At 20%, shouldn't it? So that means that $6,000, even though I've only dropped off $1,000 in wages, should have a huge impact on how much tax they pay. And straight away, can you see that 6,000 has dropped down to 3,800? We're now applying a different scale, entirely a different scale to it. So that's what a VLOOKUP does. That's how it works. So let's go through and have a look at how we structure our statement to be able to work that out. A couple of things we need to do first. I'm just going to get rid of the answers that are there. And the first thing you need to get your head around is that when you do a VLOOKUP, the scale that you refer to has to be sorted in order. Otherwise, it's like a phone book. How would you ever go and find a name in a phone book if it wasn't alphabetically sorted? It'd be a disaster, wouldn't it? So this has to go in order. So you can see here that this here is my scale that I'm going to be working out my tax scale from. So let's start with the function. Again, using Excel, so it's equals, says, hey, wake up, it's time to do some maths for me. So it's equals. Now, it's a VLOOKUP. Now, V just means the vertical lookup. We're going down a direction. So I'm going to type in VLOOKUP. And straight away, it's trying to offer me help again, isn't it?
So all lowercase, is it?
All lowercase. It wouldn't matter either way. It still works. I'm going to put in a bracket. Now, it says the lookup value. Now, where's the answer that I need to go and look up? Well, it's this 19,000, isn't it? So I'm going to choose that one. Now, you can notice in the syntax there's a comma. So I'll put in a comma, and it says the table array. Now, what it means is the range of cells where it's looking up those values from. Now, this set here, I have to highlight the whole thing. Now, a lot of people get that wrong. They go and click on one cell. You have to highlight the whole scale, both the values that it's checking against and the value it returns as well. Tax scale. Now, which column has the answer I want to get back? Well, it's the second column. It's number 2. So it's the second column. Now, it's not column B. It's saying that, okay, it's the second column in the sequence. It's a column index number. Now, again, that's one that causes a bit of grief for people. And then I need to close my brackets, and let's see if that works. Now, straight away, it's pretty close, isn't it? Can you see it's come back as 0.2? Now, it's got a dollar sign. What it's told us that, okay, at $19,000, the tax scale is 20%, isn't it? It's 0.2. So the only thing that's missing here is to work out how much tax the person pays. I need to multiply that 0.2 times their wage. So I'm just going to jump in front there, and I'm going to adjust that, and I'm going to type in B14 multiplied by, and now straight away, except the fact that I made a mistake, that should have worked. B14 times, in the wrong spot, sorry. That should have been here times by B14. That's what it was. Because I had to let the VLOOKUP do its job first. So it's times by V14. So now there's my answer. So that's the basics of how VLOOKUPs work. For the activities we're doing tonight in this course, that's probably a little bit outside the scale of what we need. But I wanted you to be aware of what can be done. It is a clever feature. If you've got the use for that, that's a very clever feature. Now again, I can just go and copy that down and it'll recalculate for all of those. The best way to work these things is always go in here and say, okay, if I make that $19,999, it's still at the 20% tax rate. It's almost $4,000. If I make that $1 more, $20,000, you should see that that will jump to $6,000, and it does. So always test it at the threshold to make sure that it's working properly. Now again, it's a bit of a strange one. Remember the structure. It's equals VLOOKUP. It's the cell that you're going to go comparing against, and then you have to go to your scale, and it's the number of the column that you need to bring back, and then you just finish it off. Stop that recording, and I'll give you a hand one-on-one.